We're here with Sean Langman of Kismet. Sean, another venture into older boats. Tell us a little bit about Kismet, because not many of us have seen her yet.
Well, she's a very striking and interesting boat because it's reverse shear.
Yeah.
Forestay set a long way back from the bow. It's got a tiny little sail plan, a timber mast.
Oh, right.
She was built initially, well, she was built in 1955, and she was built as a test prototype for the 1956 Olympics as an offshore one design.
Oh, good grief.
Go figure. She raced in 1957 and she did okay. She did in 5 and a bit days, and I found her, or she was sent to me half sunk by an old mate of mine, and to find a new home. And I looked at the whole combination of sailing an old quirky boat with one of my best mates. So here we are, two-handed.
Best mates. Peter Inchbold, yes, he's joining you.
Yes, Peter Inchbold. He's quite famous, long-suffering, sailed with a lot of blokes like me in the Fastnet and Hicko for years.
Yeah.
And he's a great seaman. Really loves the Rolex Sydney Hobart yacht race. He sailed with Matt Allen for years, and whole combination of different people. And the last few years he's been with Nigel Stoke on Fidelis. So I just thought, looking at him sitting behind his desk, it was time for another adventure. And he didn't even hazard to stop and talk about it. He just said, yeah, I'm going. So
Cool.
Here we are.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, you always have extraordinary understandings of some obscure designers and maybe some that aren't so obscure but perhaps don't really reach the limelight. So this is an Illingworth and Penrose, yes?
Yeah, it's not
Tell us-
Primrose.
Oh,
and that's
it's
the thing.
yes,
It's
everybody thinks
Penrose.
about Angus
yeah,
Primrose,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So because if you talk about Illingworth and P, it's always Primrose, and
Yes.
this is Penrose.
Yes.
Penrose was an aviator. He was one of the most preeminent test pilots in the UK. And from reading some of his memoirs, he got into yacht design, naval architecture, and everything sort of aeronautical. Didn't seem to be doing so well financially, and speaks of this Illingworth bloke that came from money from the Royal Navy. So they teamed up and started designing yachts. And she's got a lot of aviation about it in the styling, and that's what I really like. It's, we've kept that theme down below. There's a little bit of Royal Navy and a lot of aircraft, and it's a two-seater. Like everything we've done, the galley and the nav area and the bunks and the whole configuration is unashamedly a two-handed boat. A lot of everything's furling. So
Perfect.
I think it's going to be a lot easier to sail than Maluka.
Yeah, so we're talking about Maluka, and I think you said to us last year or year before, I think when we were talking to you, that you said you've got to take your watch off, it'll drive you mad. Is this one a little faster, lighter?
She's a lot lighter. She's half the weight of Maluka, but a third of the sail area. So it's going to be a very interesting boat to sail. Maluka's always been about the journey, but this time it's more about a tribute to my mate, a tribute to the designers. Of course, famously Illingworth won the first race, and their thought pattern of the time for rating, I've gone really hard on the rating. I said it to someone, I'm trying to out-speezy, and I haven't even spoken to Speezy about that yet, but that's what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So we'll see. The Cat Wincher rates a little bit higher, so if we can stick with her, we should do okay.
Yeah.
And Love and War, of course, is a boat for us to beat as well.
And you're at sea a lot longer than most. What's going to be really the prevailing issue there? Is the current going to be a big bearer for you guys?
Yeah, current is a big one for us, because any adverse current obviously is really bad, but anything with us is a fair proportion of our hull speed. So the forecast that we've been given so far, starting in a nor'easter, isn't really ideal for us. We'd rather start upwind, and that slows down the larger boats, and then when the shift happens we sail up to them a little bit. So we're looking for that, but it's always about getting to the other end. We're heading out tonight in this breeze to bounce around a bit and see how she goes, and hopefully come back with the rig, because being a timber mast, I really don't know what it's going to do. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And just last one, you talked about reverse shear. It was very much of that era, wasn't it? I remember sailing on Outlaw. She was an Admiral's Cuppa. She was long reverse shear. What were they doing in that era with reverse shear? What was that about?
Well, I don't think it was just styling. It's more about measurement station points.
Yeah.
This boat's got tumble home. We saw a bit of that.
Yeah.
It's got a very distinctive flat in the topside shape,
Right.
which goes back to a lot of yacht design in the late 1800s as well, which was a measurement point.
Right.
So there's
max
been a
max
lot
beam.
done about measurement. This thing, like this boat, only makes the waterline length by 120 millimetres for the race.
Right.
So it's significant in that the way it floats.
Right.
So I looked at what I thought was their thought pattern, and I've gone a little bit harder into that corner. We'll see. I might be totally wrong, but we'll see.
Very good. Well, good luck with your little qualifier, and we hope to see you back with your mast and everything intact, and see
so
you
do
for
I.
Hobart.
Thank
Thanks
you
very much, Sean.
Yeah, thank
Cheers.
you. Cheers.